There's room for everyone. Wherever you go and wherever you're from, you are home. You are welcome here. 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 Whatever you've been through, you found us somehow. Wherever you are on your journey now, you are home. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are so welcome. You are welcome here. You are welcome anyway now. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Oh, you are welcome here. 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 I am 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 welcome here. Oh yeah, I am welcome here. We are welcome here. We are welcome here. We are welcome here. Everybody's welcome. We are welcome here. We are welcome here. We are welcome here. Everybody's welcome. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Everybody's welcome. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I am welcome here. I am welcome here. I am welcome here. Everybody's welcome. I am welcome here. I am welcome here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That's Karen Drucker on their new CD, I Stand for Love, and she's singing, "You are welcome here, I am welcome here, we are welcome here." What a welcoming, right? So good morning, all of those of you who are here in person. There's nothing like that vibe, and all those of you that are on the live stream today, tomorrow, next week, next year. When we're all gone, who knows? And we invite everybody to check out our website to see everything that's going on, because we have a lot of things happening. We're going to have a wellness fair here, and Kathy is going to ask for volunteers later. We're going to have the Morristown Festival on the Green the next day, which is October 2nd. My class is starting, and those of you that say they're too long and too much work, you have no excuse, because it's a 5-week class and there's very little homework, and it's called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, and it's a new one. It will be on Zoom. And I want to tell you about next week when we are having Lori Carlson's official installation as a licensed practitioner. Yay! Thank you today to Bill Stone, who is providing us for our social hour. And I want to start with an opening treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes, take a breath, and just allow yourself to turn to that still point, that center of your center, that heart of hearts, where you find your deepest and richest and most delicious connection to Spirit. In this place, I know, and we know together, that there is a flow, a divine flow of all good, all love, all grace, all wisdom, all everything that we could possibly need to be standing in the world and taking up space in the highest and best ways, knowing that we are love made visible. And where we don't see that or don't believe it, that's simply our work to surrender to that infinite love of spirit of the universe itself. So today we celebrate that and so much more. We celebrate ourselves and each other, knowing that divine grace is ever available and ever having its way with us. And so for that and so much more, we take in the blessedness of life itself by saying together, and so it is. So our Namaste practice today, I want to do a little bit differently. Most of you know that Namaste is the Sanskrit word for the divinity in me, blesses the divinity in you. So we get to not just give, but also receive. But today I want to do it a little bit differently in honor of 9/11, because even 21 years ago, we are still very aware that something changed completely when our country was attacked by terrorists and much harm and damage was done. So close your eyes for a moment and place your hands on your heart. And when you think Namaste, when you feel Namaste, I bless the divinity in you, just think of all those who died in that attack, those attacks, and all those who are family and friends and loved ones and neighbors of those people. So we can, in this moment, see a pattern of a ripple effect that goes way beyond anything we can even imagine. So for a moment, let your heart be so filled with love that it spills over into a blessing for all of them, for all of that, for all of those affected, which of course is all of us. And let us say Namaste to ourselves as instruments of healing love on the planet. And then open your eyes and put your hands together and just say Namaste to somebody else in the room or somebody's. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay, so today we are exploring this idea of Khalil Gibran's sentence in his poem on work from the prophet, that work is love made visible. And I'm so glad that Laurie read that poem last week. It's one of my favorite all-time little books. I was exposed to the prophet when I was 12 years old. And I have several versions of several languages of it. And it's something that I use a lot. And the poems in there, I use them at memorials, I use them at weddings. They're powerful and ceremonial. They're written by the Lebanese-American poet Khalil Gibran. And so we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that, because knowing we're on a spiritual path, we believe that there is only one life, and that life is God's life. So we'll explore that as an invitation to deepening our expression of the love that is infinite already within us. And to find more simple ways, because I know from me, sometimes the infinite idea of love is so grand that I forget to apply it in those little pockets of life that I maybe forget to apply it in. And so I want to start by asking you a question. And my question is, do you love chores? Anybody love chores? Yeah, which chores do you love? Because probably there's some you love and some that you don't love. What chores do you love to do? All of them. Vacuuming. Vacuuming, me too.
Organizing.
Organizing, me too.
Organizing.
Taking care of my cat.
Taking care of your cat, yes. laundry. Well, are there any chores that you hate, that you
Washing
don't
dishes.
love? Washing dishes.
Ironing.
Ironing. Bring it to me. Dishes, I love them too.
Sewing.
Yard work. Well, I'm so glad I have a partner and I don't have to do it because he does. What else? Anybody have chores you don't like?
Cleaning the bathroom.
Cleaning the bathroom.
Yes.
Are there things that you love to do for others? That's like a task or a chore or something that makes you feel good. Like I love to make things for my friends. I love to make homemade cards. I love to send regular mail because, you know, we get more bills these days or junk mail than real mail, right? What are some other things that you love to do with or for others?
Diagnosis.
Cooking.
Diagnosis.
Doing a diagnosis. Yeah, Bill is a chiropractor and then some. Yes, what else?
Babysit.
Babysit. Babysit the grandkids, yes.
I don't like to clean for myself, but I like to clean for others.
You like to clean for others. I'm going to remember that.
The 5G Chatham.
Remember.
Terrace Drive.
Yes. So isn't it interesting that when we talk about kinds of work, that there are some kinds of work that we love and some kinds of work that we don't love. That's why we have people in the room that hate ironing and people that love it, right? It's just having that awareness of what are your favorite things or not such favorite things to do. And so what we are exploring today is that work is love made visible. When he says work is love made visible, what kind of work do you think Khalil Gibran is talking about?
Just serving others.
Serving others. Yeah, what else?
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection.
Helping an elderly lady across the street.
Helping an elderly lady across the street. Yeah, and especially in this culture, in American culture, there is this idea that work can be a burden, that work is too much or too hard. What we realized during COVID times was that everybody had to slow down, and most people really appreciated it. Right? In our culture, we're expected to be available 24/7 with our internet and our smartphones now. We have to be ambitious. We have to work hard. We get 2 pathetic weeks of vacation. I shared before that in the Netherlands, when you start a job, you have 10 weeks. You know, and your work week is 32 hours, max. So this idea of being driven and working hard is very part of our unconscious experience that work is hard. Of course, not all the time and not for everyone, because I know many of you love your work and you love what you do. Some of you are no longer in the work life, the traditional work life, and so you might miss it, or you might be very happy about it, or maybe both. And so there's all these interesting experiences and feelings and thoughts and awarenesses and opinions about work that invite us, with this idea that work is love made visible, to have more clarity, to have a greater understanding, to have more conscious awareness around what we think, because we know in our teaching that what we think is who we become and who we are. So we get to bring this idea of oneness to it and notice where we divide or where we separate. And so the information that you love cooking for someone, but you hate doing laundry, is very interesting. It can just be a very, no big deal thing, no, don't need to think about it. But when we start thinking about it, it becomes very telling. So it tells something about ourselves. It tells a story about our life experience. And it tells the universe what to demonstrate for us and what not to. Because there is a universal law that we think into, conscious thought and not conscious thought, and demonstrates for us that there's a resonance there, there's no separation. So if I'm thinking, oh, I hate my job, tomorrow is Monday, I I want to really pay attention because that's telling the universe something that it is then demonstrating for us. We can say, I don't care. Or we can say, That's why I love meeting people like our garbage collector who loves his job. Right? And that's why I'm fascinated by somebody who might have a job that I would love and they hate it. And so that's just information, right? So we're going to explore that a little bit more today because really what we teach in the spiritual circles and in science of mind circles is that everything is connected. So when we go around saying, I love this and I hate that, or I like this and I don't like that, we have to remember that that feels like a dividedness. And it gets us to have a greater understanding and bring it together into oneness of all life. So Parker Palmer, who's one of my favorite authors, says that in a world so torn apart by rivalry, anger, and hatred, we have living signs of love. Excuse me. We have the privileged vocation to be living signs of the love that can bridge all division and heal all wounds. I'm going to repeat that. In a world so torn apart by rivalry, anger, and hatred, we have the privileged vocation to be living signs of a love that can bridge all divisions and heal all wounds. Next week, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this idea of vocation, vocare, our purpose. But today, I want us to really think about this idea that the work that Khalil Gibran is talking about is not just the work we do in the world, our career, our jobs. It's also our inner work. It's all work. And when we can do all work with love, we're going to have a different experience than when we are divided. And I don't think that's something that we have to be afraid of. It's like, oh goodness, I took the garbage out and I hated it. Now I'm going to look for a strike of lightning. It's just noticing and welcoming it and saying, oh, that's so interesting. And I'm okay with it. I will never like taking out the garbage. I'm at peace with it. Right? That's different, right? It's having more awareness and having some acceptance. One of the things that we teach in the science of mind is that God is all there is. What's another word for God?
Spirit.
Spirit. Love.
Truth.
Truth. Abba. Consciousness. Yes, we want to think about that. When we say God is all there is, there's more to it than that because God is the representation of all that and then some. So love is all there is one powerful thing to work with at a consciousness level. Because what happens is, if I say love is all there is, I want to notice where I might not so much believe that, where I might not experience that, where I might not feel that about others, where I don't feel that for myself. So I want to pay attention when I say love is all there is, where I say the not so. It is not so. And so this whole theme this month is about thinking about loving work, which is the theme, as a verb, to love work, but also as an adjective, to be loving work, to have loving work, to experience loving work. So the really good news that I have today is, the truth is, you and I already are love. You are 100% pure, yummy, delicious love. Everyone is. Everything is. Everywhere. You and I are already 100% love. It cannot be any other way in the oneness of all life. So what gets in the way? What I think about that, how I feel about that, how I see that, how I experience that. And not so much in the when you're ironing, which if you love that, when you're cooking for someone, if you love that, when you're serving someone, if you love that, but in the moments where you're not in that space. Because in that moment, there is an invitation to remember the truth, to see love, to be that love. And so Myrtle Fillmore, in this beautiful Science of Mind magazine this month, I have some left for sale, so if anybody wants to buy one today, the quote this morning, just love this. By the way, there's a great article by Mark Nepo in here. You could see how much I love it. Myrtle Fillmore, who was one of the founders of Unity, says, "You do not have a problem except the one that's in your own mind. You do not have a problem except the one that's in your own mind. And you put it there." We might think somebody else did. But we put it there because of our interpretation of the story. And Ernest Holmes says, from Creative Mind and Success, page 37, we're not limited by actual boundaries, but by false ideas about life. And by a failure to recognize that we're dealing with the infinite. I'll read that again. We're not limited by actual boundaries, but by false ideas about life, and by a failure to recognize that we're dealing with the infinite. I know for sure that where I have false ideas about life or myself or anyone else, whether I'm conscious of it or not, I'm suffering. It shows up in my health, it shows up in my wealth, it shows up in my relationships, and it shows up in my vocation, in the way I express. It's true for all of us. But you know what happens when we judge it, when we fear it, when we hate it? We harm ourselves even more, and we block the creative flow of the infinite. So if we can just notice and go, oh, that's interesting. Let me work with this. Inner work. Work is love made visible. And so today I want to really invite you to infuse all of those areas where you might feel challenged, to infuse it with wonder. Remember, the theme for the year is living everyday wonder. If we can infuse all life with wonder, it changes everything. It's going from to wow, how interesting. I'm so multidimensional. There's always more room for me to experience this infinite love and express it and see it and feel it and be it. So we want to pause when we feel divided. And I know that's not always possible. You know, I might have an argument with somebody and say, hold on a minute, I have to pause because I have to think about this. Although I don't think that's such a bad idea, and I've been known to do that myself. You know, I need to kind of think about this, and I'll come back to you to talk to you about it. It's okay. When we feel divided, it's important to say, let me pause. And maybe you want to seek out the areas in your mind where you feel divided and say, oh, I get to unify something within myself so the divine flow can happen. I always had this image, and I've said this many times, it's like the hinges on a door, right? When you have the hinge of the door and the door itself hinge and they fit together, that's when the nail can go through. It's that same idea. It's like an open funnel, right? And so what that means is that you stop working so hard. Because I think that we make things so much more complicated than they need to be. I had this big aha about that this week. It's like, I watched myself and I said, self, Why do you have to make everything so complicated? It's really not that complicated. And so I made a decision to simplify, to feel that inner freedom, to tune into that flow of love in a deeper, in a new, in a more creative way. And so we pause, we stop, and we just take a moment to reflect. And to remember that love is really the way. Love shows the way. Love reminds us of the way. And again, they're usually very simple things, right? And so simplifying means I'm going to let love show me the way instead of fear. I'm going to let unity, unification, reveal something new to me so that any sense of division dissolves. And we can ask ourselves, how can I make it more simple? How can I do this more simply? And my invitation to all of us is to choose very little ways, little simple ways. There's so many little simple ways. When you are doing your chores that you love, or when you're doing something for someone you love, what is that thing you're experiencing? What is that quality that you feel?
Joy.
Joy.
Connection.
Connection.
Peace.
Peace. Those are the little simple ways that we have to remind ourselves. When I'm struggling, the simplest things I can do is to walk away and to do my crafts. To sit and knit or crochet for a little bit. To do a little coloring, drawing, doodling. To pick up my favorite readings and read a quote. To call a friend. To call a practitioner. Those simple little things, we already know them because you have them in your tool bag. You already have them. You already use them. You already apply them. You just apply them with more joy, with more love, and with more simplicity. I find that those little things, those little ways, are like anchors. Because when I'm divided, I'm kind of like all over the place, right? And when I stop and pause and do something different that brings me joy, I kind of go, it's the ego that says it can't be that simple. It's got to be more complicated. I have to work harder. I have to do more. I'm such a shit. I got to fix that. Those kind of things don't serve us, right? It's coming back to those simple ways of loving. And that's where we don't only experience transformation within, but that's where we become the transforming presence to the world around us, which is exactly what Parker Palmer was talking about when he said that we have the privileged vocation to be living signs of love that can bridge all divisions and heal all wounds. And so I'm not going to read the whole poem by Khalil Gibran, but there's a couple of pieces that I want to close with. He says, when you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turn to music. When you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. Which of you would be a reed, dumb and silent, when all else sings together in unison? So it's a choice. We decide, right? And at the end, he says, after work is love made visible, it says, and if you cannot work with love, but only with distaste, it's better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. And so it is. So let's listen to a little music again by Karen Drucker. And let the words really sink in, because her music is like a prayer. It's a gift. It unifies it. It heals us. So let this song heal
Let it be whatever it is. Let me cry if tears gotta fall. Let me stop if I need to rest. Let it be whatever it is. Let it be whatever it is. Let me cry if tears gotta fall. Let me stop if I need to rest. Let it be whatever it is. I keep thinking every day that I need to do more right. That novel, clear the clutter, mop and wax all the floors. Can I set aside all my shoulds, coulds and woulds? Can I be okay when it's not all good? Just let it be whatever it is. Let me cry if tears gotta fall. Let me stop if I need to rest. Let it be whatever it is. Holding on to what was with all my might. Honey, it's over, it's done, it's out of sight. All the struggle, the pain, gotta let it all go. When I trust my heart, then I know. Just let it be whatever it is. Let me cry if tears gotta fall. Let me stop if I need to rest. Let it be whatever it is. Whatever it is, the good and the bad. Whatever it is, the happy, the sad. Whatever it is, let it all be okay. Whatever it is, just is. So let it be whatever it is. Oh, let me cry if tears got to fall. Let me stop if I need to rest. Let it be whatever it is. Oh, let it be whatever it is. Let me cry if tears got to fall. Let me stop if I need to rest. Let it be whatever it is now. Let it be whatever it is. It's okay, don't worry, be happy. I'm gonna relax. Mother Mary comes to me and she says, oh honey, just let it be. Relax, surrender. Let it be.
Mother Mary comes to me and she says, honey, let it be relaxed. I love that. So I invite you for a moment to close your eyes and just place your hands on your heart. And just imagine that you were never part of this community. What you would miss. Another way to think about it is how your life has changed, how you have grown, how you've become fulfilled because of this teaching and this community. And just feel the fullness of that, because I know it's very easy for us to look at what's wrong with the world. And this world or our world or whatever world. It's like Ernest Holmes says that our human tendency is towards the negative. And so just think for a moment of how this fills you, feeds you, fuels you. And just take a moment to feel gratitude for that. And so I want you to think about how are the ways that you give back from what you fill up on, because we know give and take is the same, right? So how are you giving back to this community? From speaking the words, teaching, really making the work visible. Or maybe it is volunteering, or maybe it is financial support, or maybe it is keeping this community, all CSL communities in your treatment work. And so if you want, you may open your eyes. One way to give is to support us financially. I mean, anybody here not pay rent or mortgage? Right? We pay rent and salaries and coffee pots and live streaming, and so those are ways that you can help us by supporting us. And there are many ways. Everybody that wants to can come over here. There's flyers, there's ways how you can give, there's information about the fair, there's information about the class, there's a retreat in October in Maryland. It's all right there. And we are so glad that you're with us today and that you're part of the spiritual community. And that's true for everybody that's ever been, ever will be, whether you're here in person or you're online. So, because together we are a community that believes some very high visionary ideas that are becoming manifest in the world, and we all know the world needs it. So let's close with a healing treatment. So right here, right now, I speak this word in the I am, which is the true name of each of us. The I am that I am is our spirit name, our soul name, our God name. And so I speak from and to that in each and every one of us. Right here, right now, I remember once again that I am connected to this infinite love, this infinite grace, this infinite abundance and wisdom and joy and health that is ever within me. It is that which gives me life. It is that which doesn't need me to remember how to get my heart started or my lungs breathing. It is that infinite intelligence that provides for me with every breath and every heartbeat, and then some. And so today I celebrate that I am love made visible, regardless of what I think or believe, regardless of what my experience is. I am that, capital T-H-A-T. And each of us experiences that in a very unique and intimate way. So today I celebrate the way I experience that, knowing that since love is an infinite idea in the mind of the universe, there is room for expansion in every moment. It's why I've been given this life, not just to remember, but to heal the places where I have forgotten or where I forget on a regular basis. And that I forgive in myself and in others. That I see as the universe's way to open my heart and to let love flow more gloriously, more uniquely, and in more and more blessed ways. So I hold the vision of a world that works for everyone, a world where love is the energetic vibe of everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time. And so I am grateful today, very, very grateful, and I trust that the universal law dissolves whatever is in the way, that I don't have to believe that I have to work so hard. I trust, I surrender, I open, I deepen, and I am grateful, and so it is.